Hello, my name is Paul Tranny, and I recently got a request to show how to make a slideshow in Edge Animate, or a gallery. Well, it's pretty easy if you're going to use the timeline. This is all hard-coded, if you will. It's all in the timeline, which is fine if I'm creating a gallery of 5 or 10 images, but what if I need to animate 20 or 50 or 150? How can I make this more robust and just easier on me to manage? Well, that's when it comes to writing a little bit of code, but it's pretty straightforward. In fact, I'm going to use this current file. I'm thinking I can do a lot of this dynamically, so I'm getting rid of a lot of that. In fact, I want to take this object, it happens to be a div, and I want to change it to an image. Because for this image, I want it to not just be photo 1, I want it to be the photo for everything. So I'm going to call it main photo. And I'm going to change the attribute of this image when you click on, say, this next button. So with the next button selected, I will open up the actions for it. And right in here, this is where I can say sim main photo. That's what I want to do. Change the attribute. The source, changing that to, I happen to have a folder called images, and photo, say, 17.jpg is what I can do. Alright, and it doesn't matter whether you're using double or single quotes, you just need to be consistent, so I'm going to use single quotes in here, and I can do the same thing for the back button as well. Change that to photo 16. Okay, running this, there's photo 17, there's photo 16. But essentially I have what I had before, okay, which is a static slideshow. And I need to make this more robust. Okay, so you might jump in here and say, okay, well, I need to change this number, and I need to change it to some sort of variable, and I might call this image count. That might be that variable name, and I might decide to create it right here. I can set that equal to, again, 15, something like that, because I do want to set a variable and I want to change this dynamically, but I need to create a function and then pass in the image count number into that function. Okay, so that's what I want to do. In fact, I'm going to take this code right here, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to create a function on my stage, on my main timeline. Clicking right here, and on creation complete, do something. In fact, that do something is going to be establishing that variable and then creating that function. So I'll say sim show photo is what we'll call this new function, and then drop in that line of code right there. I still need to replace this. In fact, I want to pass in a parameter. So I'll say photo direction is the parameter I'm going to pass in. Okay, right in there. Photo direction is what I can pass in. But what I want to do is I need to increment the image count each time you call this function. So I'm going to say image count is equal to image count plus photo direction. Okay, so dropping that in like that. Okay, so what does this mean? It means I need to call this show photo function, and I'm going to pass a number into it. And when I call that function, say from this next button, so going back in here, get composition. In fact, this is, again, the function I need to call, but it's on the main timeline. That's why I'm adding get composition. Get the stage, it is on the stage, and it is called show photo. All right, so I'm calling that function, but I need to pass in a parameter. I'm going to say 1 each time you click on the next button. So I'm going to do it the exact same way, so copying that, going to my back button, opening up the function there, eliminating that line of code, and I'm going to subtract 1 from it. Okay, show photo minus 1. All right, And there's one thing I did not do. In fact, if we take a look right in here, photo direction is not what I want in this case. I want image count. Because photo direction is either 1 or -1 when image count actually increases or decreases the image count number. Running it, and now it works. All right. Click through all of those, clicking back. Might go back a little more. And as I go back, less than 1 or beyond the number of photos in this folder, beyond 22, how can I have this gallery loop? Well, I can do that again right in here. And what I want to do at this point is I need to create statements that are conditional. So I need to reset to the beginning if you go beyond the number of photos. Well, what is the number of photos? Well, I need to establish that right up here. Say variable num of photos is going to be equal to 22, because that's how many photos are in that particular folder. All right, now right in here, I can say if image count is going to be greater than the number of photos, then just set the image count equal to 1. So loop it back around to the very beginning. All right, that's what I want to do. If you go less than 1, set it to the highest number. So that's what I want to do next. Image count, if it's going to be less than 1, then make the image count equal to the number of photos. So copying that, pasting that right in there. And now it will loop around. Clicking the next photo, clicking back to the first photo, what would normally be 0 actually makes that photo number 22. Going back through, higher, you can see how I can loop through. All right. So far so good. I like how this is working, but I'm not incrementing this number, and I'd like to increment that number next because I need to know what number I'm on. So taking a look at that, I can see that that is text count, and next to it is the text total text field. So I can go back into that function that I've been working on, and at this point I'm going to use set element text using a code snippet. I don't really need those comments, but right in here I want to change the text count to the image count number. So copying that, pasting that right in there, and that's good to go. Next up, I want to get the total. So what is that total name? Going back over here, selecting it, text total, copying that name, pasting it right in here, text total, and in this case, I can go ahead and concatenate of number of photos. So now that is not hard-coded. In fact, I only need to run this once, so I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to paste this right up here. So it's set only once, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. As I run it, 3 of 22, going through, you can see how it will loop all the way around. Works great. The last thing I want to do, since I'm in Edge Animate, I know there's more I can do than just these simple cuts from image to image. So I'm going to lastly just add some code right in here. Since I have access to jQuery, I can make these photos say fade in and fade out. So what I'm going to do right in here in place of this, and I'm just going to paste in this code. And what I've pasted in is this code right here. I can fade out the current photo. Once that's done, it's going to change the image. Once it's loaded completely, that's when it's going to fade in that next photo. It's nice that I have this control with jQuery. Let's run this. Clicking next, fades it out, fades in the next photo. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I just wanted to show you how you can go beyond the timeline to really create a robust gallery that really allows for limitless possibilities when it comes to adding photos.